As wonderful as Toronto is to live, it's one of the most expensive cities to live in the entire world. Well, definitely in Canada anyway. If you're looking for a detached home in Toronto for under $1 million, you're gonna be looking at something like this.
And not everybody wants to live in an old house like this.
Most young people are gonna want to live in something like this, but it's gonna be next to impossible without the help of family. So how do you ask?
Well, I sat down with Mikayla from our office.
And she's a millennial going through the same thing right now, looking to buy her first place, but she has no idea how to get started.
So I'm 23, and the reason that this came up was because I was thinking about whether I was going to rent or whether I was going to purchase. And looking at the Toronto housing market right now, it's really expensive. And realistically, not a lot of people in their 20s are able to even qualify for a mortgage, nonetheless afford a down payment. So I was just looking at alternative options to ownership.
And your friends, are they buying? Are they owning?
So I've got friends who are currently renting or living at home still. I don't know if there are a ton of people my age who are able to purchase. I don't even think I know one person. So yeah, I think we're all looking for kind of alternative ways to get into ownership without having to throw our money away each month by renting.
What's wrong with renting?
I mean, there's nothing fundamentally wrong with renting, and I understand that not everybody is in the position where they can use equity from their parents to purchase. So renting is, what a lot of people have to do. I just think that in the long run, your money is not coming back to you. Like that money that you're throwing away each month for rent is disposable. You know what I mean? And being able to buy your first property, it's helping you get started in ownership and like climbing the ladder eventually to potentially, purchase a house later on with equity in your first property. So I think just in terms of like creating wealth, renting does nothing for you. And it's almost like you're just kind of living to the next paycheck, not really getting anywhere. I don't think I'll be able to do it on my own. I think I'll definitely need my parents to help me out, even just with like co-signing, because their income is a lot higher than mine right now. Obviously, like they're in their 60s, so they've had a long time to kind of build their careers and get at a good income level. So taking advantage of that definitely is an idea that I've been thinking about. And also, for a lot of people, they might not even have the money for a down payment. So getting their parents to help out with that down payment as well could be useful. I think that would be a route that I would go, but I definitely need to have more conversations with them in terms of my actual plan to get rough numbers.
So if you're ready to have that conversation itself, then you want to put yourself in the right environment. It could be in a quiet setting and not in a family gathering, somewhere where it's just calm and they're not under pressure to feel guilt-tripped into helping you out. If you're transparent about your plan and you have a backup option and it shows a plan that you actually well thought out and you've actually thought about it actually goes a long way. You also have to understand the impact on your parents themselves. I mean, they might have limited savings or they might have debts or looking to save for their own retirement. So you have to show some respect by understanding how much assistance they can provide, if anything at all. Maybe it's not a direct investment into the property itself or buying you the property or even a down payment. It could mean co-signing on a mortgage. Look, there's a lot of opportunities for them to help, and you're very lucky and blessed enough to even be able to consider having this option. So just think about that. Have you actually asked them? Have you talked to them about this?
So I've asked them if they were open to the idea of kind of helping out towards a down payment or helping out towards my first property. And they said that's something that we can talk about further, but you need to have, like I said before, a plan in place and bring it up to us in that kind of way so that they know I'm serious about it.
And don't forget to explore all the government incentives that are available to you, such as the first-time homebuyers plan, FHSA, or the RSP savings plan, or even TFSA.
I know the First Homes Savings Account is a new initiative that has been put out by the government. You can contribute $8,000 a year. So if you break that down, that is bi-weekly $333. So if you can contribute $333 of your paycheck bi-weekly, you can max out your FHSA, which is $8,000 a year, max contribution limit, $40,000 lifetime. Right. So my goal right now is to put my money into that First Home Savings Account and then kind of move forward with a deposit. And maybe if I do need my parents to co-sign when I do have that money saved up, then I'll go that route. But haven't made any final decisions yet.
Right, because you can also double that up with a partner if you bought with somebody else. So it's an investor or a partner or life partner even, right? So you don't know.
Yeah, and then you'd have $80,000 for a down payment, which is, definitely enough for a condo.
Plus, if you max out on that, you can also contribute to RSPs as well,
yes.
too, right? Which at the same time, you can not take it out tax-free, but you get to borrow it tax-free and pay it over 16 years, really.
Yeah, and that's why I think the way that this conversation started between you and I had first found out about the First Home Savings Account, and I didn't know that it existed before, but the good thing is that you can put in money towards it, and that money is deductible from your income tax. And then also when you are ready to pull that money out to buy your first property, it's non-taxed. So what's great about it as well is you can invest your money once it's in your first home savings account, and that money can grow over $40,000.
That's right. So your
useful to-
contributions is capped at 40,000,
Yes.
but it doesn't mean the growth is capped.
Exactly.
So
growth-
absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Assuming that you invest in the right places and you don't
Yes.
lose money, right?
Yes.
Of course.
Assuming you do your research in advance and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, for sure.
Right. Okay.
And you also have to consider fairness amongst siblings as well too. If you have any other siblings that you live with that they might have to care for.
Cool. How about siblings? Any kind of issues with that? Like, did your brother get any kind of handouts, or do you think they're going to get one or help?
Yeah, I don't know. The handout conversation is kind of difficult because he hasn't brought this up to my parents. I don't think he did a ton of research or even really knew about the options in terms of being able to buy property with equity in your parents' home. So he's right now renting. He's paying to live in like a basement suite with some roommates. So he's not paying a ton. But I did tell him, like when he started renting, I was like, why don't you just stay at home and save up for a deposit? But his response was, I just don't think it's possible to buy these days. So I think a lot of people are just kind of deciding, okay, because I don't think it's realistic, I'm not even going to think about how I could save for a down payment or how I could save to own. I'm just going to rent and just hope that things somehow magically get better, which is probably not.
It's not looking like it, right? With
Yeah.
the supply
Yeah.
not increasing at all, right? So it's gonna.
Yeah. What's
they're
your
not
like
strong.
perspective on the market right now? And
Well, I mean, right now it's good right now as a buyer, and I think we have another couple of years of this because there's all the condo completions that are coming up, at least specifically in the condo market anyway.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot more supply coming online because people pre-bought them.
yeah.
But after that, because we haven't been building for the past 2 years, and it takes about 5 years to build something.
Yeah.
So I would think that the next, by 2027, 28, there's going to be no more supply left at all. The demand continues to grow with all the new immigration coming in, right?
Exactly.
So I don't see it shrinking anytime soon. I don't see prices coming down anytime soon. Plus with inflation too, right? With money printing and all that, like the diluting of the currency, that's really where the price growth comes from, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just that your currency is getting worth less and less and less every year.
Yeah.
So that makes that you have to spend more dollars on buying that house. That's essentially what it is. That's
Yeah.
why prices go up.
Yeah, and I think, like you're saying, right now is kind of like the prime time to be buying if you're looking to, or if you feel like you want to make that next step, because it seems like there's a lot of inventory right now in the market, and I feel like people are comfortable with that, but I don't think people know what's going to happen in the next few years, and people aren't anticipating that because new developments are stalling, like you said, there's not going to be a lot of inventory, and prices therefore might spike even higher. So I think people are waiting and hoping that prices are going to go down even further than they are right now. But my perspective is, that
Or
there might
rates
not be
come
a
down,
reality.
too.
Or the rates come
Right,
down
because
too.
they just came down today. Today's October 2023, 24,
Yeah.
and the rates just dropped another, a jumbo rate cut of 0.5%.
Yeah.
So, and we're going to see more rate cuts coming as well too. So I think people are waiting for prices to come down or the rates come down a bit more, and then they'll jump in. But at some point, you're gonna have to make that move, right? So,
Yeah.
I think we're kind of near the bottom now.
All I gotta say is that don't be embarrassed to ask for help. A lot of people are actually doing it and you're not the only one. But if you need some professional advice, make sure you give us a shout.
Okay. So have you thought about other ownership structures, such as like, say, a laneway house, building a laneway house in the backyard?
Yeah, there's definitely a bunch of different options, and a laneway suite would be a way to get a little bit more independence, but I still think that I want my own separate space. I lived at university for 4 years with roommates and didn't have any parents or anyone there. And so having that independence and then going back to living with them again, because I did move back to my hometown, Toronto. And like the loss of independence really has shaken me up, I'm not gonna lie. And I think also the pace that I grew when I was away, like I grew so much faster when I was spending all that time on my own because I had to figure everything out for myself. Whereas now it's almost like I feel like I have that, I guess, safety net. So it would be good just to have my own space. And
Well, essentially, like even having your own house on the same lot is not really like there's separate structures, yes, but you're still going to be they're still like right there, right? So
Yeah.
that's exactly what you mean, right? You want to have your own space with your own amenities and your own friends in the building and all this kind of stuff, right? So
yeah, like they can still keep tabs on you if they've got you in the backyard, which is totally fine. Like me and my parents get along great, but like for long term, it makes more sense to invest money into something separate, in my opinion, than to invest money into building something else on the same property. I mean, maybe in the future, if my parents do get older and we decide to keep the house, laneway suite could be good for maybe I don't know, them to move into or even just to rent it out. But I think for what we're talking about here, a completely separate dwelling would be like totally ideal for sure. Another question I had is, what are the different options in terms of taking equity out on a house? Like, do you know about the financing options? And
Yeah, so if your parents don't have a mortgage or have a small mortgage, they can either refinance and get a brand new mortgage, or perhaps take a line of credit out where it's, the benefit of each of them, right? A mortgage, actually, you'll get the lower rates, but then you're committed to a term, right? So whether it's 1 to 5 years or even up to 10 years as well too. But if you get a line of credit, generally they're just revolving credit where it's open, so you can basically pay off as much as you want, or just pay the interest only as a minimum payment, which is about 3% of the actual mortgage balance every month or every year. So there's some flexibility to that, but the rates are a little bit higher, that's all, right? So they could do that, or I guess really that's it for financing as the best options. But then for the ownership structure, they can continue to either gift you the money, which that'd be amazing if they did, or they could share some of the equity with you. So if they put a percentage down of the down payment, they'll get, whatever you negotiate with them, right? Like whatever percentage as equity, and they'll just co-invest with you, right? That's another way to do it. Or they can, like I said, not even lend you any money if they don't have the ability to do that, right? But they can actually use their borrowing power and co-sign with you, as long as somebody can make those payments, right? Whether it's them through the monthly payments or a combination of both of you.
yeah. And there's definitely risks to everything. I brought this idea up for young people to start thinking about, but each person obviously has to do their own research and consider their own personal financial capabilities.
And situations too, right? Because not everybody, first of all, has parents that can afford to do this, or
parents that even own, to begin with.
So you're lucky, and
I'm very lucky.
But good luck with the conversation. So you got to bring that up.
Thank you. And I know you do have a guide.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. I do have a guide that I made, was available for download, on how to ask your parents for help. And same token, it's also for how parents can save for the kids as well too.
I'm going to check that out for sure.
Cool.
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, and we'll take it from here.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Add it up.
Thanks for sticking out to the very end. I hope you got some value out of this. Do me a favor, please press like and subscribe, but more than anything, leave me some feedback so we know what to produce for you going forward. Thanks again.